Pablo, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Pure, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Evening. Shakira, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi from Malaysia. Good evening, Miles and all CMF. JP, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? How you been? How's everyone doing today? Evening, brother Miles. Funky brother, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Evening, Miles and CMF and XRP. Let's go talk. How you doing? How you been? Hi, Miles. Good to see you again. Good to see you, Artistic. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, CMF. Funky brother. Good to see you. How you doing? Hello, Miles. T. Good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Evening, Miles of CMF. Purus. Good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Dennis. Hi, Miles of CMF. Good to see you. How you doing? How you been, brother? I hope the SEC missed the deadline. Well, for the time being, the SEC hasn't sent in anything yet, so just a good sign. If they do miss the deadline, it makes sense. If they don't miss the deadline, it still doesn't matter because Trump's coming in under 5 days and is going to be taking apart everything that Gary Gensler has done inside the crypto space. Will completely be gone when Trump comes into power. And Gary Gensler is fully aware of this. It's the only reason he's losing his job, to be fairly honest. But yeah, good evening, Miles and CMF. Orphan, good to see you. How you doing? But I agree with you, Pure. I hope so as well. Great day so far, CMF. Definitely, Pure. Definitely a great day. Hi, Miles and CMF. Connie, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Miles, what do you think Beam can do this run? So the gaming field, not that much, because this year is all going to be about. We're going to obviously have a lot of regulations coming in, especially in the US, and the rest of the countries around the world are going to follow US footsteps. But mostly this year and moving forward is going to be focused mainly on financial projects and essentially data projects, but data will be after financial projects. And then, gaming and AI and all that will obviously be running on the sidelines as well. But the main priority is making money go digital first before anything else starts off. Even in terms of AI, they're trying to get AI to use digital currencies. So money going digital is the first priority for any country, to be fairly honest. But gaming will be somewhere down the road as well. I mean, it will do well for itself, Beam. It's not a top priority in any sort of a way. I would say from where it's standing now, maybe $2 up, $3 up. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Denise, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Hi, I'm very happy on our side, winning. Let's go, McQueen. Absolutely facts. XRP $3.15. Incredible. $5 easily next week is what JP is saying. Look, I've always said, and I will always stand by it. When it comes to XRP, the sky's the limit. As long as we have the regulations and the adoption in, the sky's the limit for XRP. I've always said this and I'll always stand by it. Is XRP still a good potential, Miles? It has potential, yes, but the financial projects have a better potential. XRP, let's go. Let's go, funky brother. Hello, my brother. Hope you're going well. Dale, I'm doing great. How you doing, Dale? Good evening, Miles and CMF. Manny, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? The Ray, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Greetings, Miles and CMF. It's another great day. Facts. It's an absolute amazing day. That honestly, XRP is doing incredible. The entire crypto space is staring at the XRP charts right now and not blinking, which is incredible, honestly, because it's going to get even better. This is just a little teaser of what's to come. We're about to go into a Trump presidency where essentially 28 blockchain CEOs are going to be a part of, essentially President Trump's campaign to bring in this blockchain innovation. And these 28 American blockchain CEOs are going to have a sit down with Congress and go through legislations and create rules and regulations and pass it much more easier. A lot of things are going to be in progress the moment Trump takes his seat. And the prices you're seeing now is still a little teaser of what's to come. And what's to come is going to be incredible. Miles, I took some profits today. I will leave it on the sidelines and wait for a chance to buy some more. Why not? It's never a bad idea to take profits if you want to. Personally, I am not taking any profits whatsoever. But if you do want to take profits, it's your money, it's your choice, and it's never a bad idea to take some profits. But me, XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR, yeah, no profits whatsoever. I'm not taking anything. And it's more assets that I'm going to be borrowing against rather than selling them off somewhere down the line. But if you do need to take profits, it's never a bad idea if you want to. Now, if you're watching this for the first time ever, welcome to the CMF Live. The CMF stands for Crypto Mouse Family, and this is episode 242 of the CMF Live. This is episode 242 right now you're watching, which is incredible, on episode 242. And on this live, I talk about the most recent things that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrency, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, vital information for you to know about regarding the world completely transforming into a digital space. And my name is Miles. I go by the persona of Crypto Miles. And the disclaimer of this live, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, on whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. And we also do Q&As on this live as well, which means if you do have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. Also, I just want to take a second to say thank you so much to everybody who liked this live, because I'm getting notifications on X and YouTube. And thank you so much to everyone who liked this live. Thank you so much to everyone who retweeted this live on X. And thank you so much to everybody who put a comment outside the live and liked each other's comments outside the live as well. And thanks so much to everyone on YouTube who's also put a comment outside the live and liked the video as well, because I'm getting notifications from both X and YouTube. So thanks so much to everyone. And if you haven't done it, please go and do it. Now, the US Senate is what we're going to talk about next. First, but here's a gist of what we're going to be talking about on tonight's live. I'll give you a little, a breakdown, a mini breakdown of what we're going to be covering on tonight's live. We're going to be talking about the US Senate list on tonight's live regarding digital asset frameworks and the 119th essentially Congress priorities and cryptos involved in this matter. Then we're going to be talking about on tonight's live regarding the US returning 94,000 essentially stolen bitcoins to VanEck, is what's really happening behind the scenes. Then we're going to be talking about Tom Hammer essentially taking a key role inside the US in terms of digital asset regulations. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live regarding Cannes, another essentially city that's going to be accepting cryptocurrencies around the world. Essentially, France is looking into the idea of accepting cryptocurrencies, which is incredible to see. Then we're also going to be talking about the SEC on tonight's live regarding delayed decisions. Then we're also going to be covering on tonight's live regarding Oklahoma, another essentially American state who's decided to enter the ranks of creating some sort of a Bitcoin Reserve Act and bringing regulations in. Then we're also going to be talking about VanEck on tonight's live as well. VanEck has just submitted a on-chain economy ETF application to the SEC. This is the first of its kind, to be fairly honest as well. No one's ever done a on-chain economy ETF application. I'll explain what that is from VanEck once we get to that news. Then we're also going to be talking about the MiCA regulations on tonight's live, how it's fueling essentially Boris, a success in European crypto markets, essentially a crypto exchange that is technically approved by the MiCA regulations. It's the only one that's fully approved, fully licensed, and it's doing incredible essentially things. Once we get to that news, I'll explain what that is. We're also going to be talking about MicroStrategy on tonight's live as well. Michael Saylor is going around once again, and you could potentially say asking, or in some cases begging, other CEOs to buy Bitcoin also. And once we get to that news, I'll explain what I mean. We're also going to be talking about the UK on tonight's live show as well. The UK New Economy Secretary Emma is going to be overseeing crypto relations inside the United Kingdom. Then we're going to be talking about tonight's live regarding Dubai as well. Dubai has decided to build a 17-story crypto tower building in Dubai, where they're going to be creating office spaces and community spaces, all blockchain related. An entire tower is going to be built in Dubai, just essentially based on blockchain, Web3 technology, and so on. We're also going to be talking about tonight's live regarding South Korea in terms of their crypto regulations and how relevant essentially South Korea is to XRP as well. And we're also going to be covering on tonight's live regarding the SEC and the Trump and XRP situation. And also we're going to be covering the SEC filing, as in if the SEC doesn't file, what could possibly happen. So, mixture of news to go through on tonight's live. But before we go through any of these topics, once again, I just want to say welcome to the CMF Live. If you've watched for the first time ever. And the first news we are going to be covering on tonight's live is regarding the US Senate, because it's a big one. But before we go through that news, let's go inside the comment section first, and then we go straight into the first news, which is regarding the US Senate, regarding crypto regulations, and what's about to come under Trump presidency in under 5 days, which is incredible. But before we go through that first news, let's go inside the comment section first. Let's see where we're at. Hello, Miles and CMF. How you doing today? Love and respect. Share the live. Scott, thank you so much. Good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Good evening, Miles. How you doing, brother? Kelly, I'm doing great. How you doing? I've not taken profits for over a year. Once Trump is in and has done 90 days in office, I think I may think about it. Let's go pure. Why not? For the new folks, Miles is properly prepared to introduce the information he shares. Let's go, Scott. Hi, brother. Camel, good to see you. How you doing? What a great day. It absolutely is. I mean, if you're somebody in XRP like me and everybody else in the CMF, it's an amazing day today. And it's going to get better day by day, especially under the Trump presidency. Miles, I was 450% up, so I just took 10%. Just going to wait for a correction, then buy back in. No problem. It's a good idea. Good morning, Miles and CMF. Hope you have a great day. Solomon, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Evening, Miles and CMF. Jason, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Hey there, my friend. Hello, my friend. Let's go, Scott. Good evening, Miles and CMF. Free and Feather, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Hello, Miles. Richard, good to see you. How you doing? How you been, Richard? Evening, Miles. Mickey, good to see you. How you doing, Mickey? How you been? Hello, all. Ginos, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Long time. Miles, if you had a portfolio of Adder, Algo, Beam, and Hot, which one would be your top 2 or 3? Adder is good because due to the relation now it has of Ripple, which is amazing. Algo has potential, especially in the EU. Beam has potential in the gaming sector, and Hot has essentially potential in the data center. I would say, look, Adder, I would go for because the relationship it has inside the financial sector now. I would go Hot based on essentially the data side. Algo is an incredible project, and Beam is an incredible project in its own field, in its own gaming field as well, to be fairly honest. I'm all in on XRP. That's what I like to hear. That's just weird. Miles, what do you think ICP is going to be reaching this bull run? ICP is something that I don't hold. And I've always, said ICP personally. I've always said ICP is not a must hold in my point of view in any sort of way. The financial projects are the must hold. There's always been a must hold. The financial projects, XRP, XLM, XDC, and HWA, it has to be due to the money going digital and so on. But ICP, what do I think is going to possibly reach? I couldn't be able to tell you because I don't know what their recent developments or contracts or if they have any sort of new licensings are. I can take a look into it. Just leave a comment outside the live and I'll take a look into it and I'll reply back to your comments. Bro, do you know you I don't know who that is, I'll be honest. I have no idea what that is. Bro, do you know Yuri? I don't know. Now, first news we're going to be covering, so I really don't know who that is. First news we're going to be covering on tonight's live is U.S. Senator. U.S. Senator lists Dodge essentially digital assets framework as a part of the 119th Congress priorities. So, as reported today by Fox News, Senator Tim Scott has essentially outlined his priorities for the 119th Congress, which includes developing a regulatory framework for digital assets. The newly appointed chairman of the Senate Banking Committee said Congress will provide an open-minded, essentially, environment for innovative, essentially, for innovative financial technologies. Now, in January 15th, an announcement, essentially, the committee outlined its focus areas where including affordable housing, economic national securities, oversights, and addressing digital asset regulations. Digital asset regulations has become a top priority now, where it's ranking towards, essentially housing and essentially economic national security, oversights, and so on. It's in the same category now as in digital currencies. Under the chairman, Gary Gensler, the SEC refused to provide clarity to the cryptocurrency industry, which has forced projects overseas, Senator Scott stated. The committee will work to essentially build a regulatory framework that establishes a tailored pathway for the trading and custody of digital assets. Scott picked up his new role after the former Ohio Senator Sherrod Brown, who essentially chaired the banking committee since 2021, lost his re-election bid to Republican Bernie, essentially, and the GOP majority control of the Senate enables him to see through President-elect Donald Trump's pro-crypto growth regulatory legislations. The Securities and Exchange Commission continues to face criticism for what many in the industry perceive as essentially a hostile approach to cryptocurrency regulations. Leading crypto exchange Coinbase essentially filed a lawsuit against the SEC last year, challenging the agency's ambiguous, essentially come in and register approach. Critics argue that the SEC's policies under Chairman Gary Gensler have stifled essentially innovation and driven crypto projects offshore. With Gary Gensler set to leave his seat, the banking committee plans to establish clear guidelines for the digital asset sector for the US to grow. This is something that they should have done a while ago, but they're doing it now, which is still great to see. And it's basically the banking committee coming out with their own regulations and policies on how to go ahead with crypto assets, but then the SEC can use that blueprint of what the regulations should be. They could have done this a while ago, but the reason they never did it is because the Democrats didn't really like the idea of cryptocurrencies and so on. They preferred the US to have zero growth and just slide downhill and then let the BRICS countries take over instead of growing and bringing innovations out of the United States. The good thing is now Republicans are in control fully, which means that the US can have finally some growth and bring some innovation in once again. In addition to creating a digital currency framework, Chairman Scott plans to address what he called the burdensome, arbitrary financial regulations imposed under the Biden administration. What he's referring to is the Biden administration of circus freaks who did absolutely nothing since day one into office until now, just like Biden himself. The only thing that Biden did do towards the end of his presidency is pardon his own son, something that he said he will never do, because apparently no one is above the law. Apparently just his son is. I look forward to working with the Trump administration and my colleagues on the committee to find consensus and advance solutions that improve financial inclusion and create essential opportunity across the country, the US Senate stressed. According to the nonprofit group Stand With Crypto, the 2024 elections saw 250 crypto essentially members of Congress and 16 senators assume office. President-elect Trump supported the evolution of lawmakers with favorable views on digital assets to key congressional committees. Among the crypto essentially friendly leaders and representatives, Brian Stale, who will chair the House for Financial Committee's subcommittee on digital assets, financial technology, and artificial intelligence, GOP Majority Whip Tom Emmer, a vocal critic of Gensler, will serve as the vice chair. Everybody who's against Gary Gensler, against people who are negative towards cryptocurrencies, is about to take control of everything inside the US. It's going to be all about pro-crypto inside the US and kicking out Gary Gensler as soon as possible. With President Trump in the White House and with essentially Gary Gensler confined to the waste bins of Washington, we have an excellent opportunity to ensure that the future of digital assets is guided by Americans with American values. That statement, essentially with President Trump in the White House and Gary Gensler confined to the waste bin of Washington, that statement was made by Tom Emmer, somebody that's going to be in a very high-profile seat, who is somebody that is also essentially saying we should toss Gary Gensler in the bin. Trump nominee Paul Atkins, a crypto-friendly former SEC commissioner, is expected to end the crypto crackdown initiated under Gary Gensler. However, it is unclear how soon the Senate will greenlight his appointment, which I think is going to be extremely quick because we have a full Republican Party in every sector of America. Once the new administration takes office, clarity is expected on whether the SEC or the Commodities Futures Trading Commission will oversee specific parts of the crypto industry. Lawmakers will also likely be tasked with addressing stablecoin regulations and providing guidelines for the issuance. The good thing is, with the guidelines and issuance of lawmakers coming together, 28 blockchain CEOs are going to be working with Congress alongside Trump and trying to develop some crypto regulations. If you want to bring crypto regulations, who better to ask than the CEOs of blockchain companies that are in the United States? Now, essentially moving off that particular topic, which is the US Senate actually putting it down, because there was rumors Trump is going to come in day one and establish regulations day one for the crypto asset space. Now, I know for a fact that Trump is the only person that says it and does it, which is rare, extremely rare in politics, where somebody comes in as a prime minister or a president or anyone in the politician category and says, I will do this, and actually does it. Trump is the only one that says, I will do this, and he does it. I just wasn't clear on if it's going to be day one, if it's going to be day 2 or day 3 or whatever. And there has been word around Trump that it's going to be day one is going to be establishing some sort of regulation for the crypto space and have some sort of a crypto party afterwards as well. But now we have confirmation that essentially the topic of cryptocurrencies, blockchain technology, blockchain regulations, crypto regulations is on paper now. It's on paper. It's being looked into. It's in the same category as housing and economics for the United States. And then it says blockchain. So it's in top priorities right now, blockchain regulation in the United States, top priorities. It's on paper. It's no more, people around Trump are saying this or the news is saying that. It's on paper. It's on Congress's paper. It's ranking alongside economics in terms of the United States and housing when it comes to the regulations of blockchain. So it's top priority, which is amazing to see. Then, now essentially moving off that, which is amazing news, incredible news that it's on paper right now in Congress, to the US once again. But in this time, we're going to be talking about the Biden administration of circus freaks. So moving off Trump and the positivity Trump's going to bring to America, to now the Biden administration of circus freaks. Biden's administration of circus freaks are capable of doing anything from now until January 20th before Trump takes his seat. And one thing that the Biden administration of circus freaks have been trying to do is try to sell off some of the Bitcoin that the US is holding in some sort of a way. They got a green light from the DOJ about 5 days ago. Ironically, they could have got a green light from the DOJ a long time ago. But because Trump said he wants to create a Bitcoin reserve, so they try to, plead for a green light for the Bitcoin reserve selling off. But now, today, the Biden administration of circus freaks have pulled off another move. They pulled off this. The US to return 94,000 stolen Bitcoin to Bitfinex and call it a sole victim. Now, the Bitfinex situation was a hack where a married couple, decided to hack Bitfinex and then become some sort of crypto influencers. And then the FBI realized that this couple hacked Bitfinex, which then led to the FBI to essentially arrest this couple, take their wallets away from them. The United States confiscated 94,000 Bitcoins from this couple. And the exchange itself, Bitfinex, decided to raise money and pay back the victims. Now, the US had all of this time to pay back Bitfinex, which Bitfinex has been asking for their Bitcoin for the longest time, because Bitfinex said, we've already paid the victims on our exchange their money back. We've raised money, we've paid the victims. Can we have our money back to the US, is what they said. And the US replied pretty much no. For the longest time, they said no. Now, the Biden administration of circus freaks decided to say, why not? Why not give them their 94,000 Bitcoins back? Now, I'm not saying this is a good thing. Essentially, I'm not saying it's a bad thing in any sort of way. Essentially this exchange getting their own Bitcoins back, even though they have raised the money back. But the timing is interesting. Why now? Why are essentially the Biden administration of circus freaks deciding to give back 94,000 Bitcoins out of the goodness of their heart back to Bitfinex? Why now? 5 days before Trump comes in. The US government stated that over 94,000 Bitcoins stolen in 2016 Bitfinex hack should be returned to the crypto exchange. Ironically, the timing is interesting. This was detailed in the filing submitted this week to the US District Courts for the District of Columbia, confirming earlier claims that Bitfinex was the sole victim of the theft. The filing cities plea essentially agreements with Aya and Heather, who admitted to conspiring to laundering 119,754 Bitcoins stolen in the hack. The 2016 hack also involved the theft of 120,000 Bitcoins, now worth more than $12 billion. And the husband and wife, essentially Heather and Liechtenstein, also known as the rap artists, laundered the stolen funds using crypto mixers, layered transactions, and darknet markets, and other essentially techniques. The stolen assets represent the largest cryptocurrency seized in American history, and following essentially the pair's arrest in 2022, authorities seized Bitcoin valued at nearly $4 billion, marking essentially the Department of Justice's largest asset essentially seizure to date. The government argued that the restrictions also should include the entities of the seized assets, returning them to Bitfinex in kind. This aligns with the October 2023 position shared by Liechtenstein, Morgan, and Bitfinex's parent company, iFinex, acknowledging the exchange as a stolen victim. Now, If in these few days Bitcoin decides to do some sort of a drop, it's probably because Bitfinex is about to get their Bitcoins back. Now, is Bitfinex going to be selling their Bitcoins? Probably not. If they do, it'd be kind of a dumb move. But if they did sell off their Bitcoins, the Bitcoin can come down realistically because it is 94,000 Bitcoins. It's not a joke amount. It's a huge amount. But the good thing is, if Bitcoin goes down, guess what goes up? Ironically, XRP. XRP for a while has detached from Bitcoin. If you didn't know, well, now you know. If you are somebody that's looking at the charts most of the time, you must have realized by now that XRP has detached itself from Bitcoin for a while now. So has XLM, so has HBAR, so has XDC. And that detaching situation is going to be happening a lot more for a lot of crypto projects that have legitimacy or some sort of backings or contracts in place or licenses in place, because that's what's going to happen. The more we go into this era of regulations and utility and adoption, as we go through that, essentially in this year, especially if we go, the more we go towards regulations, and regulations leads to adoption, and adoption is such a utility and so on, the more we're going to see detaching happening in general. Now, moving on essentially from the ironic timing of the 94,000 individual Bitcoins that are returned to Bitfinex, to Tom Hemmer, who is going to be taking essentially the seat for the key role inside of the US digital asset regulations. The United States Representative's Tom Hemmer has been named as the vice chair. Now, we talked about a little bit about Tom Hemmer a little bit above in the previous news, but here's a little bit more on Tom Hemmer and how much he actually hates Gary Gensler and actually how much innovation he's about to be planning to bring to the United States for the blockchain sector. The United States Representative Tom Hemmer has been named the vice chair of the House Subcommittee on Digital Assets, Financial Technology, and AI. This appointment underscores Congress's focus on addressing essentially cryptocurrency regulations and fostering innovations and technology. And Tom Hemmer, a vocal advocate, a very big vocal advocate of digital assets, aims to ensure the United States leads in crypto-friendly policies. He has consistently opposed essentially stringent regulations, emphasizing the importance of balancing innovation with accountability. In May 2024, Tom Hemmer introduced the CBDC Anti-Surveillance State Act, prohibiting the Fed from issuing a surveillance-enabled digital currency. This bill, which passed the House, protects privacy and ensures digital asset policies, and it reflects American values. At Consensus 2024, Tom Hemmer highlighted the cryptocurrency's baptism nature and lasting essentially presence in the global economy. He also called for effective enforcement of existing laws to root out misconduct without stifling innovation. The subcommittee established in 2023 oversees the developments of crypto assets, financial technologies, and artificial intelligence. Tom Hemmer will collaborate with Chairman essentially French Hill and others to refine regulations and legislations and approaches. Tom Hemmer's work with the FIT21 bill exemplifies its efforts to essentially bring some clarity and regulatory responsibilities. This bill introduced the term digital commodity for cryptocurrencies and outlined the SEC's role in overseeing them. His leadership in these initiatives reflects a commitment to creating an environment where digital asset creativity can thrive. The subcommittee's work is pivotal as the crypto industry faces increasing scrutiny and regulations. The appointment comes as the policymakers navigate complex challenges in crypto and AI, and in terms of AI integration. And Tom Hemmer's role signals a strong focus on fostering technological growth with safeguarding consumer essentially interest. And according to his autobiography, Tom Hemmer has held appointed leadership roles, including House Majority Whip and National Republican Congressional Committee Chair. His experience shapes his approaches to advancing crypto legislations and promoting transparency. Significantly, Tom Hemmer's advocacy for innovation raises essentially critical questions about the future of the US in terms of digital assets. Will these efforts solidify America's position as a global fintech leader? Yes, 100% yes. In terms of global leadership, yes, America is going to be taking the role 100%. As much as, the Middle East wants to take the role in terms of, United Arab Emirates, Dubai, for example, wants to become a crypto hub and so on. There's a lot of countries that want to become a crypto hub. But in reality, America is definitely going to be taking the ranks. The world market follows America's footsteps. That's just how it is, and it's always going to be like that. People like it or don't like it, doesn't really matter. But here's the thing. Tom Hammer is going to do, in my opinion, an incredible job, because he is the man that's been trying to pass stablecoin regulations in America, but he couldn't because nobody wanted to listen to him. He's the man that tried to pass the FIT21 bill, which had passed up to a certain stage. So he's the man that's been trying to pass so many regulations for the crypto space, but every single one either got rejected or didn't make it too far. Now they can, because now he has a chair as the vice committee chair for blockchain technology and AI. He's in the perfect position to bring in regulations now. The way America is going to be taking the charge in terms of crypto assets, it's going to be ridiculous. There's a study test done that America is ranking 11th in terms of blockchain innovation, regulations, and so on. And that countries like Singapore are ranking number 1, and number 2 and number 3 were Hong Kong and Dubai, in other words, or essentially United Arab Emirates and so on. And America was 11th. America's about, in my opinion, go from 11th to 1st. And especially this year. This year is going to be an incredible for the US, incredible for everybody who's holding legitimate assets, and incredible for everybody else outside of the US, because every market space is about to be following Trump's footsteps. I mean, for crying out loud, South Korea. Not only is South Korea going to be following America's footsteps in terms of crypto regulations, they said explicitly that they're going to be following Donald Trump's footsteps inside the crypto space. Not only that, it's got to a stage where the Prime Minister of South Korea has decided to learn how to play golf just so he can have a conversation with Trump. This is the extent leaders of the world are going to follow Donald Trump's footsteps. They're going to follow Donald Trump to anywhere. Now, before we talk about the next news, which is regarding Cannes, essentially in France, essentially talking about cryptocurrencies and how France is becoming a bit more open to the idea of accepting currencies, digital currencies, in terms of payments and legal tender, let's go to the comment section first. As I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it down in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer the questions you may have. Now, let's go to the comment section first, and then we'll go straight into the next news regarding France and crypto assets. So let's see where we were at. We were here. Okay, we were. There you go. Hi, Miles and family. Troy, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Miles, used to talk highly of ACH, but now you don't. So shall I sell ACH to financial tokens like XDC and HBAR? Better off, yes. I think ACH is going to flop. Is it maybe due to Ethereum having a struggle situation? But ACH won't flop. However, XRP, XLM, XDC, and HBAR will obviously do 10 times better. I'm thinking of selling LA2 and on the finance too, or changing for XLM. Why not? XLM is a better option without a doubt. Hello, Miles and CMF, because right now your priority is not financial advice in any sort of a way, but your priorities right now inside the crypto space, especially going into 2025, your number one priority, if you're inside the crypto space, is financial projects. Forget about what everybody else says inside the crypto space about DSINs and DPINs and DGINs and this random AI project inside the crypto space, or this random gaming project inside the crypto space, or this random meme inside the crypto space. Forget about all of that trash. Number one priority, especially this year, is financial projects. The world is going digital. We're about to go into heavy regulations. The biggest, just to put in perspective, the biggest market space in the entire world, America's market space, is about to go digital. And they're going to be focusing on regulations, heavy regulations. It might be a bit loose at the beginning, but we'll get heavy as we progress forward. And regulations will help the banks and institutions get involved more inside the crypto space. And then the rest of the world is going to follow America's footsteps. If America brings out regulations for stable coins, the world is going to follow America's footsteps and bring out regulations for stable coins. America brings out regulations for financial projects, the world's going to follow their footsteps. America brings out regulations so banks and crypto projects can work together. The world is going to be bringing out regulations so banks and crypto projects can work together. You get the picture. Whatever America does, everybody else follows one step behind them. And financial projects will be the number one category, no doubt about it, not just this year, but going forward in general. Because money going digital, there's nothing more important and I mean nothing more important than money going digital. Because before we go into the world of gaming, in the world of AI, in the world of data, we need to fix the basics. And the basics is money needs to go digital. Financial projects are number one. They've always been number one, but they've been overshadowed by other projects. The reason why financial projects couldn't grow as the rest of the projects, like the gaming space or the meme space or the AI space or whatever, because the financial projects were one, building, and two, they had no legislations to move. They couldn't move because they would be operating in too many gray areas. But now the tables have turned, and the financial projects are going to become number one now, because that's the most important thing in this world. Before we go Web3, before we go towards major AI, before we go towards gaming or or essentially living in this digital world or whatever, metaverse style, DSINs and DPINs and DGINs and do whatever. Financial projects, number one. The basics is money needs to go digital first because it affects everything. Money going digital, Web3. Money going digital, tokenization. Money going digital, AI. It leads to everything. They want to get AI robots. Coinbase, for example. Coinbase is getting AI agents and AI robots on teaching them how to use cryptocurrency wallets. Money going digital is the number one category in crypto, especially now. So XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR. And ironically, they're the ones that have always been green for a while now, for a few days, for a few weeks now. But yeah, your main priority and your main focus now, if you want to shorten down your portfolio, main focus, main priority, XRP, XLM, XDC, ACH. XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR. Focus on those financial projects. They're going to be leading the way. Everything else is going to be alongside them. Hello, Miles and CMF. I'm going in for a transition procedure this year. Wish me well. I'm transitioning into a millionaire. Let's go, Comatose. Hi, Miles and CMF. Stormy, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? Miles is holding a small bag of Viot. Is okay if you want to. Thank God a peace deal has been made for, I heard. What a great day. Miles, you're right. Today was really a great day. Yes, XRP is about to, definitely is. Hi, Miles. XRP is about to go, shooting. Hi, Miles, and all inside the CMF. Hope everyone is well tonight, especially with all these green bubbles today. Let's go, Addy. Hi, Miles and family. Alex, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Morning, Miles and CMF. Just dropped in for a bit to say hi. What a great day for XRP. How long have we got for the SEC to file? Not that long. The SEC should have filed by now, if I'm not mistaken. They haven't yet. But good to see you, Shelly. How you doing? Miles, you've been saying since the end of 2023 that all utility coins will go on their own way, detaching themselves. You were right again. Yes, I was. It's nice to hear it. But yes, I was right again. Because look, the easiest way to put it is a lot of crypto projects are going to detach and go their own separate ways. So this whole, essentially following Bitcoin's footsteps is going to come to an end. Something that Bitcoin maxis or anybody inside the Bitcoin, anybody inside the crypto space, some people don't know about this. Some people know, but they don't want to say it. But here's the truth. This whole following Bitcoin's footsteps is coming to an end. The more we go towards a regulated, essentially market space, the more we're going to go towards adoption, because that's the part where utility comes in. And the more we go towards utility, the more the detaching is going to be happening from Bitcoin. Reasonings why, for example, I'll take two crypto assets in this case, Bitcoin and XRP. The contracts that XRP has in place and the utility that XRP has is very different to what Bitcoin has. Bitcoin can't do transactions. It's slow and expensive. Bitcoin is better for store of value and so on. XRP has contracts for it to be used in terms of the banking system. Let's just, in this instance, let's talk about the SBI situation. XRP is actually being used by SBI, being used by Japanese banks and so on, but used by any bank around the world, private banks, public banks, or whatever. The more we go towards regulations, the more the utility is going to kick in, the more XRP is going to detach. Because the contracts, if you think about it, the contracts that Ripple has, Bitcoin doesn't have. The contracts that Ripple has, essentially, AVAX doesn't have. The contracts that AVAX has, Ripple doesn't have. So how can the market follow each other when they all have separate, essentially, utilities going forward for them? It's very simple to think about it. The time period of the market follows Bitcoin's footsteps. The market, Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin comes down, feeds into the altcoins, and everything goes up. That is coming to an end. It's finished. It finished a while ago, to be fairly honest. It's finished a while ago. So first of all, the whole idea of Bitcoin goes up, Bitcoin comes down is never going to be happening unless the institutions that are holding Bitcoin ETFs decide to sell, which I don't think they're going to, unless they do some sort of coordinated attack. But even if they did, they're not going to be feeding into the altcoins. Second of all, there is so many contracts in place, so many licenses in place, and so many crypto projects that are going to be going their separate ways due to their contracts, licensings, and regulations, and so on. So the detaching is going to be happening more often now. And the more we go towards regulations, the more XRP will detach itself from Bitcoin. The more we go towards regulations, the more XLM will detach itself from Bitcoin. The more XDC will detach itself from Bitcoin. HBAR will detach itself from Bitcoin. AVAX will detach itself from Bitcoin. And you get the picture. A lot of legitimate crypto assets are going to be detaching themselves from Bitcoin the more we go towards a regulated market space due to the contracts they have in place, the partnerships they have in place, because all those projects they were building over the years, they're going to be launching them. Let's not forget the main purpose of crypto projects. It was utility. The main point of crypto wasn't buy, sell, quick profits. The main point of crypto was utility, which is what we're about to go into. So the detaching is going to be happening quite more often this year, especially. So forget about this time period of everybody follows Bitcoin's footsteps and so on. That's come to an end. And bear markets will be less effective for utility projects. I'll give you an example. If we go through a bear market situation and XRP is being used 24/7 in the banking system, let's just presume, how can a bear market affect a crypto asset that's being used 24/7? If XRP is being used under regulations, utilities kicked in, adoption is kicked in, XRP is being used 24/7 by the banking system, a bear market is not going to affect XRP because there's millions of transactions happening per second around the world, or every 3 seconds. So even bear markets will have less of an effect on utility projects if their utility is being used on a 24/7 basis, because they can't go for a bear market if they're being used 24/7. So this whole, venture you've had inside the crypto space, a lot of things are about to change. A lot of things are about to change. And it's only because we're going into regulations. And it's only because the biggest market space on this planet is about to go towards blockchain regulations and banks coming in and more ETFs happening and the rest of the world following their footsteps. So a lot of things are about to change. This whole step-by-step that you had inside the crypto space, that's come to an end. And Bitcoin maxis will never tell you that, because the Bitcoin maxis want you to believe that every crypto project is going to follow Bitcoin until the end of the earth, which is not the reality at all. It never was. Once the regulations kick in, once the adoption starts to kick in and it picks up speed, a lot of crypto projects are going to detach themselves from Bitcoin, and they're going to be essentially activated 24/7, transactions happening 24/7 and so on. And even bear markets won't affect them. This whole cycle won't affect them anymore. Thank you, Miles. You told me to. So yeah, you were right again. Thank you, brother. I know I am. But again, look, I'm not being cocky in any sort of way either. The only reason I've never been wrong, and it's impressive to say that in the last 3 years, I've never been wrong. Even this year, I've never been wrong either. It's only because I'm very proud of the wisdom God's given me. Very proud of the wisdom God's given me. I'm not cocky in any sort of way. Just proud of that, to be fairly honest. Thank you, Miles. Good morning, Miles and CMF. Sorry I'm late. I could peel my eyeballs from the charts. You can peel your eyeballs from the charts. It's understandable. Thank you, Miles. You told me to invest in XRP in February 2023. Best gift you could have ever given me, all respect. Harris, no problem anytime, brother. So when I told you to go into XRP, it was February 2023 when I told you to buy XRP. And now obviously XRP is, at these prices. Let's go. Great evening, Miles and family. Did I miss any XRP news? Just some, but we're going to go through a bit more towards the end as well in XRP. We still have a lot of XRP news, a lot of news to go through in tonight's live. Great evening, Miles and family. Did I miss much? Yeah, you think only finance? you think only finance projects are doing good in this bull run, or others can do something? Other projects will do something as well, but finance projects are going to be taking the lead. Miles, do you have any info about XYO? I've never brought XYO. I've never been into XYO. I know some bits of it, but that was a very long time ago regarding XYO. But I've never brought it. I've never advocated for it. I've never told anyone to look into it. So I won't be able to help you out much on XYO, but you can put a comment outside the live. I'll take a look into it. Put a response back. I'll put a response back to your comments. I'll take a look into see if there's any partnerships, new licensings, anything that could push it inside this legislation sector we're about to be going into. I'm thinking of selling 1/3 of my ETH and putting it into XRP. Why not? I mean, based on the quantity, obviously not financial advice in any sort of a way, but based on the quantity, makes sense. Miles is always right. Miles is always right. Let's go, Ghost Burner. Facts. Again, not being cocky, but it's just facts. Thank you for informing me. I'm so excited for this to be over. It's been a long time. Let's go, Roxanne. No problem anytime. Just now, SEC officially just files appeal a Ripple lawsuit to classify XRP as a security. SEC officially appealed 4 minutes ago. Nothing's going to happen. Whatever the SEC has appealed, it's not going to make a difference, because within 5 days, Trump is going to take his seat. Or in this case, within 4 days, because it's 12:16 now a.m. So within 4 days, the Trump is going to be taking his seat, essentially, and whatever Gary Gensler has done, it's going to make zero difference because when Trump comes into power, Gary Gensler is losing his job. He's resigning himself. New SEC chairman is going to bring legislations, and but Congress members also having conversations, Senate banking committees having conversations, and even, as I said to you, Tom Hemmer, who has now been chosen as the vice, essentially, chair for blockchain and innovation AI technology, has said that we're so excited to throw Gary Gensler in the bin. And this is a vice chairman saying this, a new appointed vice chairman saying he's excited about throwing Gary Gensler in the bin. So whatever Gary Gensler does or files in today, it's going to be all undone. All of it's going to be undone. This case is again dismissed or settled, and full stop. That's it. So it doesn't really affect XRP in any sort of a way. Whatever Gary Gensler has done now is a waste of time and a waste of taxpayers' money. He knows this also, but he just can't back down because it's Gary Gensler. Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me know, commenters. Hi, Miles and CMF. Peg, good to see you. How you doing? How you been? SEC, good. Bear market is for retailers, not institutions. Very true. You were even right about the wall. I was hoping you were right about that too. Oh, thanks. No problem, Stormy, anytime. What about AI agent sections? Look, AI is going to have a very good field day as well inside of legislations. But number one priority is money. Money going digital is number one priority. Because if we want to live in a Web3 world, then money needs to go digital. If we want to live in an AI world, then money needs to go digital. If we want to live in a tokenization world, then money needs to go digital. If we want to live in a data world, then money needs to go digital. If we want to live in this metaverse gaming world, then money needs to go digital. Number one priority is money going digital. The financial projects are key. They are the basics of a digital world. Money needs to go digital is number one category. Financial category, XRP, XLM, XDC, HBAR. They didn't do anything in the past because they couldn't. There was no legislations. If they did, it was gray areas. Gray areas leads to suings, either by the CFTC or the SEC. But now we're going to legislations. A lot of things are about to be changing. Number one priority is money going digital. So AI will do well for itself, but the basics of a digital world is money going digital. Brendan, thank you so much for the $7.99 Australian dollar donation. It's going straight to start up the CMF hedge fund. Absolutely incredible. Thank you. Appreciate these lives, man. Keep it up. I'm up 100,000 on XRP tonight. Should we still hold? Let's go, Brendan. Not financial advice in any sort of way. I'm personally holding, and I'm never gonna, as I've always said this, and I'll always stand by it. I'm never ever going to be selling my XRP. Never going to be selling my XLM either, XDC and so on. I'm going to be borrowing against these assets. The one, skip on tax, and two, why would I sell something that I could borrow against? I'm going to borrow against these assets because you don't pay tax on debt, and then use that money for the best ROI I can find. And that instance will be in the field of real estate, and then essentially pay it back. But HSBC Bank is one of the banks that's offering this. There's Nexo you can go as well, which is a blockchain platform that lets you borrow against your crypto assets and so on. But thank you for the kind words, Brandon. Thank you for the donation. And if you want to still hold, that's completely optional up to you, not financial advice in any sort of a way. But my own personal preference for myself is I'm never going to sell. XRP, I'm never selling. I've always said this and I will stand by this. XLM, never selling either. XDC and HBAR, I'm on the verge. Maybe yes, maybe no. But XRP and XLM, I'm never selling. It's going to be two assets that I always borrow against and never pay tax on. In a very legitimate way. Like and share the live, please. Let's go, Peg. But yeah, Brandon, that's what I'm going to be doing. But that's completely up to you. Gary has 2 more days. He's not working over the weekend. That's true, actually. Gary Gensler only has 2 more days. He's not working over the weekend. Brad now tweets, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Gary Gensler, SEC, really took this to the heart. Facts. Gary Gensler, as I explained a few days ago, is like a child. You know, an adult wouldn't react this way. But Gary Gensler is a child. He has immature behavior. Hey, Miles, let's go. Let's go, Davey. How you doing? Good to see you as well. Okay, France. France has decided to look into the idea and open up to the idea of cryptocurrencies, essentially legal tender. But Cannes is where they're going to start this off with. So Cannes to support crypto payments for local businesses. Cannes Mayor David essentially has unveiled plans to train local merchants on accepting cryptocurrency payments, as the city prepares to host a essentially Ethereum community conference later this year as well. David announced the initiative via LinkedIn, highlighting Cannes' commitment to supporting cryptocurrency payments as a part of his broader Web3 strategy. In preparation for the 8th edition of the scheduled essentially crypto event they're going to be having. It's going to be taking place from June 30th to July 3rd, 2025. The city government will organize training sessions for merchants to integrate crypto payment systems. The first session, set for February 4th at the Palace Days festivals, will essentially cover key areas such as technological legal cover, key areas such as accounting and tax implications of cryptocurrency adoption. They're about to be teaching everything to local merchants in France, in Cannes, about what is cryptocurrencies, how to pay tax on cryptocurrencies, how to accept cryptocurrencies if you're a local merchant. A crypto-friendly merchant map will also be developed, essentially provided to the attendees and other tourists with a guide to businesses in Cannes that accept digital currencies. And Europe's largest annual essentially Ethereum event that is also coming up is expected to draw over 6,500 registered participants, with total attendance projected to exceed 10,000. The Mayor David sees the crypto initiative as an opportunity for local businesses to tap into global tech-savvy audiences while enhancing Cannes' reputation as a premier destination for major events. And some commentators speculate that David's pro-crypto stance may be a part of a larger political strategy as he positions himself for the 2027 French presidential election. While his primary focus remains on bolstering local commerce and tourism, the initiative aligns with the growing global interest in blockchain technology and digital assets. If you're somebody in politics right now against essentially crypto assets, if you're in politics right now, essentially, if you're somebody that's in politics right now and you're against crypto assets, it's not a good day for you, I'll be honest, because everybody's going to be voting against you. Crypto is playing a massive role right now. And if you're against crypto assets, yeah, nobody's voting for you. That is why essentially Kansas mayor has decided to accept cryptocurrency and so on. But it's also because Trump is coming into power and so on. Every country is going to become a lot more crypto friendly because they have no choice. And nobody wants to be left behind from the American market space either. But now moving off essentially from France, to the SEC. Now, the SEC has decided to delay one particular decision, and it's the Bitwise crypto index fund conversion decision. So here it is. The United States Securities and Exchange Commission has therefore put on hold its verdict on the Bitwise application to have its crypto index fund transformed into an ETF. The license issuing essential authority has given March 3rd, 2025 as the date on which it will either approve or reject the application or refer to further consideration. Now, obviously, March 3rd, we're going to have a new SEC chairman, which is most likely going to be approving this essentially index fund ETF. Now, Bitwise's index fund ETF is a mixture of crypto assets. The extension was, however, deemed necessary because the SEC requires sufficient time to undertake the assessment of the proposal, as well as essentially other contingencies. And the statement read, the Commission finds it appropriate to have a longer period to respond to the proposed rule change, to be given adequate time to consider the proposal, rule change, and the matters arising therefrom. They're referring to Gary Gensler getting tossed out. Self-identified exchange, New York Stock Exchange, Okra, applied Bitwise essentially on November 15, 2024, and thus the formal consideration process began. This proposal essentially was published in the Federal Register on December 2nd and was made open for comments. Nevertheless, there was no comment left upon until now, and the Bitwise 10 Crypto Index Fund was established in 2017, and investments in the first 10 cryptocurrencies by market capitalization. The company is valued at around $1.4 billion and mostly involves Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana and XRP and Cardano, AVAX, and Polkadot. It's quite a big, essentially, index fund that's getting turned into one massive ETF. Hunter Horsley, the Bitwise CEO, essentially confirmed that the change would improve offerings and investor safeguard with a fund focusing better essentially on net asset values, NAV. The SEC continues to pay attention to the problems related to the prospects of crypto-based ETFs. It has consistently voiced its concerns about such issues as manipulation of markets, liquidity, and investor protection. For this reason, the period of review is longer than in case without such problems, because the regulator aims to settle all the problems before deciding on this issue. They're trying to say, essentially, we don't know what the decision is going to be, so we're going to push the Bitwise ETF up until March, which is a big ETF, mixture of XRP, Bitcoin, and Ethereum, so on, coming to one ETF. But they're essentially saying, oh, we're pushing it till March because we need to look through the bit more longer period. We need to see if it's not a scam or whatever and whatever. In reality, it's more like because they're kicking out Gary Gensler and they want to kick him out first before they come to decisions like this. They were expected essentially, with Bloomberg ETF analyst James suggesting that the SEC delay was all a part of the plan. He said, as expected, the SEC has kicked and can further and postpone the decision on the Bitwise Invest filing to transform the Bitwise 10 crypto index fund to become an ETF. This is not the first time the SEC has delayed similar decisions. In November 2024, it postponed rulings on Ethereum spot ETFs from Bitwise and Grayscale. Later, it approved the first Bitcoin and Ethereum combination ETFs from Hashdex and Franklin Templeton in December. And funds, another key player, essentially has intended to convert this Bitcoin trust into an ETF. However, a recent announcement confirmed the termination of the assets and acquisitions and agreements with Bitwise due to regulatory delays. In the easiest way, essentially, is basically, to put it, is because they wanted to get rid of Gary Gensler. They want to get rid of Gary Gensler and then look into the Bitcoin, then look into the Bitwise Index 10 fund, which is a mixture of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, AVAX, and Polkadot, and so on. One big, massive ETF fund, and it will get approved. In my point of view, it's going to get approved. If we have a new SEC chairman in place, it's getting approved 100%. And the new SEC chairman is going to be a pro-crypto person. He's already mentioned he's pro-crypto, and he's bringing out regulations and so on. So this fund and any other ETF is, a 99% chance of acceptable. Now, moving on essentially from the SEC delaying one particular decision, but not the Ripple case, to Oklahoma. Before we talk about Oklahoma, let's go inside the comment section first, and then we go straight to Oklahoma news. As I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer the questions you may have. Let's see where we're at. Hi, Miles. Peter, good to see you. So how you doing? How you been? Gary has, yeah. Hope you're well, bro. Everything bubbling up. Zach, let's go. Facts. All the evil that Gary Gensler has done in the past is reflected on his face. He does look like Mr. Burns. A lot of people do say that as well. Miles, what amount of ACH is suitable to hold for like 2,000? If you want to, preferably stick to XRP, XLM, XDC, and HBON, not financial advice in any sort of a way. Miles, could you ask the CMF if anybody has been having trouble signing into Bitmart, please? If anybody has been having trouble signing into Bitmart, please let Joe know inside the comment section. I don't particularly use Bitmart, so I can't give you an answer on that one. But if anybody else is, watching this live right now, or CMF member, and if you are using Bitmart, let Joe know inside the comment section if you're having difficulties connecting to Bitmart as well, logging in. Miles, I don't hear much news about XLM anymore. What's the main reason we should hold it? The main reason you should hold XLM, not financial advice in some way again, but the main reason you should hold XLM is because of a conversation that was done between essentially XLM's CEO and the World Economic Forum, where the World Economic Forum mentioned that they are going to be using XLM in rural areas. And they said how XLM could play a very key role essentially inside the retail section, but mostly inside of rural areas. Once somebody from the World Economic Forum comes out and says these things about any project, yeah, it definitely shows where the future of that project is going, and it's up. But also you have the contracts in place, the licenses in place, and the basics of being a financial project. But then you also have the the backings of the World Economic Forum, the most powerful and wealthiest and richest people on this planet. So that's the reason you should be holding it. Now, Oklahoma. Oklahoma proposes a strict Bitcoin Reserve Act for the state assets. A lot of American states are coming out and deciding to create some sort of Bitcoin reserve, and one state in particular decided to create some sort of a crypto portfolio reserve instead, which makes a lot more sense, but here it is. Oklahoma has joined the list of states in the United States that are considering legislations to permit the state to hold Bitcoin as an asset. Today, the state representative Cody Maynard proposed essentially the Bitcoin Reserve Act, which is a major breakthrough in incorporating cryptocurrencies in the state budgets. The bill suggests that the allocation of state money to acquire and store essentially Bitcoin in state coffers with the purpose essentially of securing people's purchasing value. Maynard also focused on the positives aspects of Bitcoin as an independent currency, which cannot be influenced by any party. Bitcoin is freedom from central bankers who just print money, Maynard said, emphasizing his position as an inflation shield. More states are also looking into the idea, and Oklahoma is now the 6th state to consider Bitcoin's reserve policies. The legislation comes against the backdrop of more and more state governments expressing interest in the cryptocurrency, especially with the new President Donald Trump's administration tipped to support Bitcoin and crypto assets. Oklahoma's bill is not an isolated event, as essentially market experts Dennis Porter, the founder of Satoshi Action Fund, noted in his recent post. At the moment, half of the 12 US states initially planned are considering similar policies as states search for new ways to essentially shielding their economies and from inflation situations. The Swiss National Bank at the international level is also under pressure to invest into Bitcoin, which again proves the increasing role of cryptocurrencies is playing in the national and state budgets. The proposed legislations, essentially House Bill 12036, to permit Oklahoma state savings accounts and pension funds to invest into Bitcoin. If essentially it therefore seeks to provide a mechanism through which these investments are properly overseen so as to deliver good returns on capital employed, yet at the same time protect the funds from erosion through inflation. Maynard termed essentially digital currency as an ultimate store of value and said that the legislation is to ensure that the riches of Oklahoma's residents are safe. The bill also states funds to invest into Bitcoin and thus positions Oklahoma as a state that embraces essentially good physical management and new age financial solutions. This legislation captures the view that the new forms of money like Bitcoin will be a part of the central bank of the future of the world economy. Thus, it prepares for this shift for being ahead of the curve and rapidly essentially developing digital sphere in terms of finances. This is not the only state in America that's thinking about doing this. So far, right now, 12 essentially American states are thinking about creating some sort of a Bitcoin reserve. They're also thinking about bringing in crypto regulations, which is amazing to see, honestly, to be fairly honest. More on the side of the essentially bringing out regulations, I'm more excited about. American states are thinking about cryptocurrency regulations rather than the Bitcoin reserve. But the Bitcoin reserve also brings eyes on the blockchain space in general, which is a positive for both sides. But the legislation is what I care about the most, because legislation means that a lot of crypto projects can thrive. So moving on, essentially from Oklahoma being the 12th state in America to be coming out with some sort of an idea of a Bitcoin reserve or cryptocurrency legislation, to VanEck. This is the first of its kind of essentially what I'm about to be sharing to you. Now, we've had Bitcoin ETFs, we've had ETFs for Ethereum, we've even had a filing for a Bitwise 10 fund, essentially ETF, with a mixture of 10 crypto projects. We've even had the idea of a Coinbase 500 of Coinbase 100 crypto index fund. But what we've never had is this. VanEck, massive corporations, massive. VanEck submits an on-chain economy ETF application to the SEC. Now, if you're wondering to yourself, what the hell is an on-chain economy ETF application that VanEck has applied for to the SEC? Well, here it is. Asset manager VanEck submitted an application to the US Securities and Exchange Commission for the on-chain economy ETF on essentially today, and now the deleted social media comment from VanEck's head of digital assets research, Matthew, revealed, according to the filing, the fund will invest in crypto firms across the industry, including software developers, mining companies, crypto exchanges, infrastructure builders, payment firms, and other businesses inside the crypto sector. So this is an ETF that VanEck has created and filed for, the economy, essentially the on-chain economy ETF application, is an ETF where anybody can invest into in terms of institutions or Wall Street and so on. And this particular ETF fund focuses on funding blockchain startup companies, blockchain financial companies, anything related to blockchain, this fund will start to pour money into. So again, we've had Bitcoin, Ethereum ETFs, we've had, essentially single crypto asset ETFs, and there's more happening. There's about 5 XRP ETF filings, about 3 Solana ETF filings for the SEC. There's so many ETF filings going on right now. But as in, we've had single ETF applications for crypto. We've had a group basket of crypto, the Bitwise Index 10 fund. We've had the other group basket of crypto, essentially ETFs, with Coinbase's 100 ETF filing they're about to be doing. And then now we have the on-chain economy ETF, which is a fund for investing into blockchain startup companies. And it just shows you, honestly, it does show you how there's a massive shift happening. And again, this is all before Trump takes his seat. Trump is taking his seat January 20th, but the world is already adjusting to the idea. Institutions in America are already adjusting to the idea that a Trump presidency is in 4 days. And that when that 4 days passes and Trump gets into power and becomes the American president once again, America is going to be bringing in innovation in terms of blockchain. And VanEck just wants to get ahead of everybody else. Because once Trump brings in the regulations, once Trump's administration brings in the regulations and Congress brings in the regulations, and the 28 blockchain CEOs that are working together alongside Congress bring in the regulations, the market is going to be doing health. The market's going to be moving very healthy. There's going to be a lot of utility happening slowly, a lot of adoption happening. Blockchain is going to grow. More institutions are going to get involved. More banks are going to get involved. The world market, every country around the world is going to follow America's footsteps. And VanEck just wants to get the, a little step ahead. We went from nobody wants to touch crypto assets to now everybody wants to be involved. But again, thank God Donald Trump won. Genuinely. Because all of this is possible because of Donald Trump. He just brings that positive note of making money. But the other party, the current party, the Biden administration of circus freaks, are just lazy twats who don't want to make any money, who don't want the country to make any money, who don't want the US to make any money, want to stifle innovation, stifle growth. It almost seems like they're traitors to the US, to be fairly honest. But Trump, on the other hand, and people who stand behind Trump are all about making money. They're all about growth, innovation. Even his first time when he was president, he was the same. And ironically, COVID happened the first time he was president because they wanted to overshadow what Trump can do for the United States by introducing COVID. Second time, he's about to become president. Ironically, we're about to be having a COVID 2.0. I mean, the asset, essentially, continuing with VanEck, according to the filings, the fund will invest into crypto firms across the industry, including software developers, mining companies, crypto exchanges, infrastructure builders, payment firms, blockchain, and any other related business to crypto sector. The asset manager defined these as digital transformation companies, writing essentially, digital transformation companies are selected based on a combination of fundamental analysis, market trends, the company's strict positioning within the digital asset ecosystem, and valuation. The fund will also invest into digital asset instruments such as commodity futures contracts, but will not invest in the digital assets directly holding crypto. VanEck application is one of the latest ETF filings in the anticipation of a new leadership under the SEC. So honestly, when you see companies like VanEck applying for this type of ETF, it does 100% tell you that America is getting ready to boost the blockchain space. When you have a massive corporation like VanEck filing in for an ETF to fund the crypto space, they're going out of the way to do this, to be fairly honest. They could have waited for Trump to come in and see if he does do it, even though I know he will do it. But they could have waited for Trump to come in and see if he does do it. But they know Trump is going to bring in the legislations. They know Trump is going to bring that regulation. They know that Trump is going to pump crypto. So they thought, let's just get ahead of the game and apply right now. Honestly, the amount of money we're going to be making this year inside the crypto space and next year and the year after the under Trump presidency is ridiculous. But only if you position correctly. If you're on the right crypto projects, is what really matters at this point in moment in time. Now, MiC regulations. On the topic of regulations in the United States, let's shift it over to regulations in the Europe. And the MiC regulations. MiC regulations, Boris Stuttgart, success in European crypto markets. Now, Boris, essentially, Stuttgart is one of the exchanges, essentially, and at this point, it's the biggest exchange under the MiC regulations for the cryptocurrency space in Europe. The cryptocurrency trading division of Boris Stuttgart, one of Germany's leading stock exchanges, has experienced a rapid expansion inside the crypto space. The traditional German stock exchange has a department for crypto exchanges. And that particular crypto essentially department in the German stock exchange is boosted massively. For example, currently this industry accounts for about 25% of the exchange's overall earnings. A recent press release claims that 2024 saw the exchange best success yet. With trade volumes nearly tripling, the increase was further highlighted by the fact that the custodial asset reached 4.3 billion euros, which is equivalent to $4.45 billion. Bitcoin remains the star essential of Boris Stuttgart's crypto portfolio, accounting for nearly 50% of their cryptocurrency revenues. CEO Mathis revealed the platform was attracted over 1 million essential crypto trading clients. Its strategy of targeting both professional and retail investors in Germany-speaking regions has been pivotal. And Matthew also owns Bitcoin investments and reflects his faith in blockchain technology and its long-term developments and prospects. This excitement is a reflection of the exchange's continuous attempts to grow cryptocurrency offerings, which began with Bitcoin in 2019 and extended to Ethereum staking. The European Union's markets in crypto asset regulations, MiC, fully essentially enforced in late 2024 has impacted the cryptocurrency landscape, despite initial concerns about over-regulation. Industries and executives view MiCA essentially as a milestone for the sector. Boris Stuttgart's success demonstrates how regulated platforms can thrive in evolving regulatory frameworks. Additionally, the exchange collaborations with liquidity providers and financial institutions like DZ Bank have enhanced essentially its service portfolios. The company's partnerships with Amazon Web Services has expanded its infrastructure, enabling better support for European clients, and moreover ensured Ethereum staking services developed for Munich highlights its innovative approach to addressing investor concerns. While the US presidential-elect Donald Trump's crypto essentially delegation promises raised relocation essentially fears, Matthews remains skeptical. He believes that Europe positive market dynamics will sustain its momentum. The EU structured regulatory environment offers a stability, attracting investors wary of US volatility. Boris Stuttgart comprehensive offerings includes its Boson trading app, demonstrates its commitment to user-friendly crypto solutions, its strong performance under the growing appeal of regulated European market spaces, with the MiCA essentially paving the way. The exchange is well positioned for further growth in 2025 and beyond. It is pretty much the biggest exchange right now in Germany. It's a traditional stock exchange that has a crypto department. That the crypto department is actually tripling in terms of revenue compared to their traditional stock exchange, which is incredible to see that there is the excitement that's happening over there in Europe, essentially, in terms of the money rushing into the crypto sector. And this is available to retail section in Germany and the EU, and essentially the EU, and the institutional sector as well. But again, it's just showing you, the preparation we're going towards. And their CEO is actually, looking forward to the, essentially Trump coming in. But obviously, they want to stay competitive to the US. They don't want the EU to be ranking second. They want the EU to be ranking first, and everybody else following essentially EU's footsteps. But that's never going to be the reality, anyways. But the good thing is, as long as every country around the world is going to become this competitive towards each other, of who's going to make it first and become number one inside the crypto sector, all that means for us in the most simplest way is money, money, money. Because the more America brings to the table, the more the EU is going to bring to the table. The more the EU brings to the table, the more Russia wants to bring to the table. The more China wants to bring to the table. The more Singapore wants to bring to the table. So each country is going to be pushing themselves further and further and further to compete with each other. But while they're competing with each other in terms of regulations and legislations and adoption and utility, we're making money hand over fist. But again, it all depends on if you're positioned correctly on the right projects. Because if you're holding giraffe token and cat token and donkey token, well, you're not going to be in the right category when they're essentially pouring in money inside the crypto sector. But if you're positioned correctly in legitimate crypto assets, because this is the time for legitimate crypto assets, believe it or not, you're going to make money hand over fist. It's not financial advice in any sort of a way, just common sense. Now, just personal preference, let's say. Now, let's go to the comment section first before we go through the next news, which is regarding MicroStrategy and MicroSailor. Let's go to the comment section first. Let's see where we're at. As I said previously, this is a live, which means if you do have any questions, put it down in the comment section. I'm more than happy to answer the questions you may have. So let's see where we're at. Mouse, thoughts on Parcel, PRCL, please. Parcel, put a comment outside the live. Mav, put a comment outside the live. I'll take a look at, or just message me. But if you want, put a comment outside the live as well. I'll reply back to your comment of what I think about the project. I need to look into it to see what, legislate, what licensing it has, if it has any partnerships, does it have any decent partnerships, and how far those licenses take them. Hello, Mouse and CMF, Golden Dragon, good to see you. So how you doing? How you been? But yeah, Mav, put it inside the comment section, outside the video. Anyone here having glitches on their Ledger Live when trying to sign in? Time for a tangent, Miles. Do you consider tangent? Always. I've always considered tangent. But Ledger is good as well. There's nothing wrong with Ledger. But tangent, in my eyes, tangent is easier to use if you're especially beginners at the crypto space. Not saying you or David any sort of a beginner, but the UI of Tangent is so much easier than Ledger. The UI is so much easier. The security, in my opinion, is higher as well on Tangent. But also, might sound a bit biased, but I am also sponsored by Tangent. If you use the code crypto miles in capitals, you can get 20% or 10% or whatever percentage of your Tangent wallets if you use the code crypto miles in capitals. Altogether, one word, crypto miles. You get 20% off your Tangent wallets and so on, which is amazing. But yeah, I'm not being biased in this sort of way, but Tangent is very secure. And I have both, to be fairly honest. But yeah, Tangent is excellent. Miles, with all you have, help here. God blessings. Golden Dragon, thank you so much for the kind words. Hi, Miles. How are you? Do you think the UK government will bring in regulations anytime soon? Do I think the UK government is going to be bringing out regulations anytime soon? I hope so. Look, the UK has to. It has no choice. And today we are going to be talking about the UK as well, because they've hired a new person to be in charge of blockchain and regulations and so on to bring out something. But the UK has a lot of difficulties right now going through it. And yeah, I mean, the UK, in terms of politics, we need to go back to basics. Honestly, we need somebody like Peter Jones to be in charge of the UK, to be the Prime Minister of the UK. We don't need the parties we have now in terms of Labour, Tories, Reform, Conservative. It's the same crap, just all over again on repeat. Okay, we need to forget about these parties of Tories, Labours, and Conservatives and Reform, and put all these parties to one side and forget about them in the UK, and just start off fresh. We need a new, essentially, group. We need somebody like, the British version of Donald Trump is like Peter Jones. We need somebody like him taking control of the country. We need a businessman. We need somebody who understands how a business works. Not somebody who knows how to read from a piece of paper. Anybody can read from a piece of paper, which means anybody can become prime minister. We need somebody that can think like a businessman, somebody that can think, has that mindset of, a country functions like a business. You need to do the correct marketing in terms of getting investors into the country. There's a lot of things to it. And I'll be honest, the UK has a lot of things to work out. And crypto regulations is definitely one of them. We're going to talk about that tonight's live as well. But the UK needs to go back to basics. And we need to get rid of Tories, Conservatives, Labours, and all these political parties in the UK, because they're all useless as each other. And we need somebody like Peter Jones to take the ranks. We need our version of Donald Trump. In my eyes, every country needs a version of Donald Trump. Anyone here having? Hi, Miles. How you? Okay. Miles, let's call him Donald Pump for today. Donald Pump. Thank God Donald Trump won. Crypto Miles. Let's go, Davey. As the markets are pumping, yep. They are traitors by definition. Yes, the Biden administration of circus freaks are traitors by definition. 100% yes. 100% yes. Miles, I've diversified my portfolio pretty well, with the 3 financial projects being my biggest holdings: XRP, XDC, and XLM. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm thinking of switching my other tokens, i.e. Beam, to increase my holdings in these financial projects. However, I want something to sell in the bull run, and I am not keen on selling my X's. Fair enough. What would you do in my situation? Keep the Beam. If you're planning on selling something and you don't want to sell your X's, which I completely understand, because I'm not going to do that either, keep the Beam. If you want to, or sell the Beam, put that money into the X's, and just, sell a little bit of your X's because of the Beam that you sold to buy more of your X's. Because they'll go higher in price anyways in the X's. The money will go higher in the X's than it would ever do in Beam. So selling off Beam is not a bad idea. Feeding the Beam money into the X's, and then later on sell a little bit of your X's, thinking back to that time when you sold off Beam to buy it. If you want to do that. Miles, not financial advice, Miles, all these massive companies trying to become the Wall Street of crypto with all these crypto ETFs in the future. Yes, in a way. In some sort of a way. Not exactly, but yes and no types of orders. SEC filed their appeal. Yes, they did. Thanks, Bud. Exactly. Running a country is a business. Facts. And it could be a businessman or a businesswoman. Doesn't really matter. Businessman or businesswoman, but it has to be somebody who's business minded. You know, somebody that's chosen that's business minded. Like Trump. Trump is business minded. And that's why America's economy is going to be the best economy for the next 4 years, as long as they don't do COVID 2.0. Because I don't know, for some reason, you know, when Trump wins the presidential election, a pandemic COVID situation happens. Because the first time it happened as well. And ironically, we fast forward to another Trump presidency where China was coming out with a 2.0 virus of a COVID situation as well. Every time Trump decides to, interesting enough, every time Trump decides to boost the US economy, which he does up to a certain extent, the first time he did it, China decides to release a pandemic COVID situation. So the first time Trump decides to boost the US economy, every time the US economy gets bigger and brings in innovation and money, China shrinks a little bit. Not in terms of country or people, but in terms of GDP, in terms of the money they're coming in terms of inflows. So every time the US grows, China gets a little bit smaller. So knowing that Trump is the only man that can bring in innovation in America, that can boost America's economy and put China down, when Trump becomes president the first time around, COVID gets released, which means, you know, as Trump is trying to grow America, make it a strong, powerful, wealthy country, COVID gets released somehow from China. And all the work that Trump did gets overshadowed by this scenario over COVID, which the first time around it happened, fair enough. We could say coincidence, even though it's not, it's coordinated. We can say coincidence. You know, Trump becomes president, COVID comes out of nowhere. Coincidence. But why is it again happening when Trump is about to come into power now? There's conversations going around in China about a new outbreak of COVID 2.0. So again, Trump is coming into power to boost America's economy, make America strong, healthy, bring money to the table, bring in innovation, and China is about to be releasing a new virus to the public. It's just interesting is what I could say. Because every time the US economy grows, China's economy goes. And every time the Chinese economy grows, the US's economy goes slightly down. Because they're competitors, major competitors. And the only person that can boost the US economy is Trump. Let's be fairly honest with ourselves. Sleepy Joe can't boost the US economy. OnlyFans Kamala Harris couldn't boost the US economy. OnlyFans Kamala Harris could barely handle the budget she had for her campaign. She went to $10 million debt. And she wanted to, you know, fix the US's problems in terms of money. How? Really, how? But it's just odd, you know. First time around, Trump becomes president, fixing the US economy grows, China releases a virus, US economy slows down. Second time, Trump's about to come into power, China's on the verge of a COVID 2.0. Trump wants to grow the US economy, and China on the side could release a new virus, and people are going to start wearing masks. People are very bright, I'll be fairly honest. But anyways, putting that to one side, positive side is we're still going towards legislations, we're still going towards essentially rules and regulations and adoptions and utility and everything else that's coming with it. We're still on a positive note because the world is about to be following America's footsteps no matter what. There's no slowing down. The thing is, a COVID 2.0 or a COVID version 10 couldn't slow down the crypto market space in any sort of a way. It just can't slow it down because the world has liquidity issues, if you haven't realized by now. Every country is going towards some sort of a crisis bubble situation. It could be a real estate bubble that they're going towards that's going to burst and crash their economy, or it's going to be automotive industry bubble or whatever. So it's got to a stage where every country needs money. They need liquidity. And well, crypto brings liquidity to the table. So there's a lot of reasons why even a COVID version 10 couldn't slow down the crypto markets. Because every country needs that money. Every country needs liquidity. Every country needs to move away from this traditional system that they're on because they've messed with it too much, that they have no choice but to move on from it. Or their economies are going to crash. So even a COVID 10.0 couldn't essentially divert the market space. We're still going towards that massive legislation, rules and regulations, adoption, utility, and so on. And we're still going to be making a lot of money. Not financial advice in any sort of a way. Now, MicroStrategy. Actually, before we go for MicroStrategy, let's just go to the comment section because Denise has got one more comment inside the comment section, and then we'll go straight to the next news. A friend of mine, Denise says, a friend of mine just arrived from China and says there is no signs of any virus over there. It's all manipulation and lies. It is. Facts. Now, MicroStrategy. Because even the first COVID was all lies and manipulation as well. Anybody that passed away, they'll put COVID down. It could be a 120-year-old man, and when he passes away of natural causes, the doctor will put COVID. Now, MicroStrategy, and essentially Michael Saylor urging urging another corporation to essentially buy Bitcoin and add it to their Bitcoin reserves, add it to their some sort of a crypto portfolio reserve that they are going to be creating. Michael Saylor, executive chairman at business intelligence firm MicroStrategy, recently urged Mohammed, the chief economic advisor of Alliance, to buy Bitcoin. During his recent appearance on CNBC, the former PIMCO boss stated essentially that the recent economic data was somewhat stronger and somewhat hotter than initially anticipated. This has been a consistent theme of, according to essentially Mohammed. The economist took to aim at the Fed for being too dependent on the data. He also added that the Fed might be fine with the inflation staying essentially at 2.5% or 3% range, which is slightly essentially above the often repeated 2% target. Inflation expectations are stable. We don't have inflation problems. We have an inflation issue relative to a 2% target, he said. He has warned that the Fed might actually essentially hike rates if determined to reach essentially 2% target, which is not a preferable scenario. Bitcoin essentially, on the other hand, has long been a tutored essentially hedge of against inflation and so on. And the MicroStrategy recently essentially announced its 10th consecutive essentially Bitcoin purchase, bringing its total milestone to 450,000 Bitcoins. And back in 2021, Mohammed Elron revealed that he purchased Bitcoin back in 2018 during a major market crash. However, he then ended up selling the cryptocurrency too early in 2022, and the Bitcoin would not be able to hit $200,000. Now, let me just put it into perspective. The reasoning is why Michael Saylor, there's two reasons. Two reasons why somebody like Michael Saylor is keep on going out of his way to urge CEOs of other companies to buy Bitcoin. One could be that MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, has a very good heart as a businessman, and that he's going around and telling other CEOs to buy Bitcoin. He told Microsoft executive board members to buy essentially, Bitcoin, and he's going out of his way. He's going on interviews. He's going on essentially having sit downs with executive board members from other companies just to talk about Bitcoin. Now, Michael Saylor is a very intelligent man. He's a very wealthy man, and he's a very busy man, interesting enough. But he still has time to go around and tell his competitors to buy Bitcoin. He goes and tells Microsoft to go and buy Bitcoin. He goes and tells Alliance to buy Bitcoin. He tells the US government to essentially buy Bitcoin. He tells any company he can to buy Bitcoin. If it has to be a face-to-face meeting, if it's going to be a sit-down meeting, he essentially pleaded to have a sit-down with Microsoft before they were doing votings on should they buy Bitcoin or should they not essentially buy Bitcoin. He was having sit-downs with them. Now, the reasonings, is it because Michael Saylor has a good heart and he cares about his competitors also making money and joining in the Bitcoin bandwagon? Or is it because MicroStrategy has over-leveraged themselves on buying too much Bitcoin and it's going to get to a time period where they're not going to be able to pay off their bonds? So obviously they're having sit-downs with their competitors to buy Bitcoin. So it's either one of those two things. It's either essentially MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, is going around and telling their competitors inside the corporate sector to buy Bitcoin because he cares about his competitors inside the corporate sector to do well, or it's because he's over-leveraged MicroStrategy so much that he's got to an extent where he's begging other CEOs and executive board members to buy Bitcoin as soon as possible. So either way could play out. Let's see. Time will tell if he's over leveraged himself on Bitcoin, or essentially it's because he genuinely cares about his competitors buying Bitcoin. Because I know, obviously, inside the corporate sector, competitors care about each other. They care about each other so much where they tell each other where to invest so they can all make money together and walk into the sunset. Before we go into the next news, which is regarding the UK, let's go to the comment section first, and then we go straight into the UK news in terms of crypto regulations. Let's see where we're at inside the comment section. By the way, I did say this is a live. As always, you can comment inside the comment section. I'm more than happy to help you out if you have any questions. Miles, what Peter Jones are you mentioning? I have a few in mind. Peter Jones, not Peter John. Jones. Do you know whatever happened to Binance guy in Nigeria? So the Binance employee that was in Nigeria has been sent back to the US, if I'm not mistaken. A while they got sent back to the US. They released them, if I'm not mistaken. Now, UK. The UK's new economic secretary, Emma, to oversee crypto. Emma, former parliamentary essentially secretary at the Treasury, has been appointed to the new economic secretary. Emma appointment essentially follows the resignation of Tulip, who stepped down in the letter to the Prime Minister. Now, Tulip was somebody that was supposed to keep the UK safe from everything, you could say, in the finance category as well, mostly. And Tulip ended up being someone who did the opposite of what she recommended to the British people to do. You can take a guess on that was. She was in charge of telling people fraud is bad, in a sense, and she did the opposite. I mean, it's a politician. What do you expect? Honestly. Tulip, the Member of Parliament, essentially for Hampstead and Highgate, cited personal reasons for her departure. She took $10 million, or £10 million it was, roughly, in terms of bribes. So she cited personal reasons for her departure. I'm guessing she's going to be going to the Cayman Islands. The new economic, essentially, secretary in the UK will play a key role in shaping the government's crypto regulation agenda. In addition to digital assets, Emma will oversee the UK central bank digital currency plans, because CBDCs are not really going away in any sort of a way at all. Every country is going to have CBDCs no matter what. Even if the country comes out and says, we're not working on CBDCs, we're rejecting CBDCs, and so on, they're really not. And they have no authority or power. No prime minister, no president, no politician, no congressman, no senator, anyone inside the world has any sort of controls on the idea of CBDCs. Nobody can reject CBDCs. It's beyond politicians, prime ministers, any sort of senators or governors of any country. It's beyond all of that. So she's going to be also in control of CBDCs in the UK. Her appointment comes as the UK continues to push for greater regulatory compliance inside the crypto sector. The government has essentially pursued this approach over the past few years as a part of its ambition to become a leading hub of digital asset innovation. Now, in the previous prime minister that we had in the UK, who was also useless, he decided to make the United Kingdom the hub for cryptocurrencies. But how he did it was just by mentioning it and then doing absolutely nothing after that. Again, as a politician, what do you expect? You can't expect much from politicians, to be fairly honest. Even though they do promise a lot, but then offer you nothing in return for the next 4 years. Market watchdogs, such as the Financial Conduct Authority, have adapted a more essentially supportive stance towards crypto industries in recent months, contrasting with the stricter approaches taken by the US under the ongoing SEC Gary Gensler. Now, the good thing is there are UK departments who are not politicians, who are actually just employees, who are actually trying to work on legislations in the UK. So on the topic of, will the UK have legislations this year for crypto assets? Yes. And it's not due to the politicians, because they do absolutely jack squat from the moment they go into work and come back home. It's because of the watchdog, essentially employees, or the FCA, that are actually coming up with the legislations. And then at the end, the useless turnips inside of Parliament get to vote on something they had no hand in doing. and get paid a wage. The landscape has shifted since Donald Trump's election, and industry players are optimistic about what the new SEC leadership could essentially mean for crypto ecosystems in the US. Trump will be essentially coming into power January 20th, and the SEC plans to move away from its regulations by enforcement strategy and freeze certain ongoing lawsuits that do not involve fraud. And apparently, yes, the SEC is going to be dismissing and settling all crypto cases that don't have fraud in the case, which means the Ripple case is not a fraud case. It's going to get dismissed or settled. It's going to freeze. Coinbase, it's not a fraud case. It's going to get dismissed. Crypto.com, it's not a fraud case. It'll get dismissed. Kraken, it's going to get dismissed. Every crypto, essentially, lawsuit that's going on right now with the SEC, if it doesn't involve fraud, it's getting dismissed or settled. So while it remains to be seen how Emma will impact the UK's crypto policies, because we know where America stands now, the general sentiment is that the country aims to remain competitive and aimed growing global crypto adoption. The European Union's markets and essentially cryptos and assets rules came into full effect with industry players keen on leveraging the clarity MiC offers to expand across the bloc. The UK's own legislation on cryptocurrencies and stablecoins is expected to be finalized by early 2025. Now, the UK has said that, Q1, Q2, we should be getting some sort of crypto regulations coming in, which is absolutely amazing. But the rest of the crypto regulations, we will have to wait and see. But I do still expect the UK to pull through this year somehow, because America is about to be changing the game forever. And the EU is about to be following America's footsteps. Every country is about to be following America's footsteps. The UK can't get left behind, because three things run the world, other than the World Economic Forum. Three things run the world. Washington, D.C. is the politics of the world, which is outside the United States, but inside the United States. Washington, D.C. is essentially a provenance, and it essentially is the politics of the world. City of London is the money of the world, and Vatican essentially is the religion of the world. So these three things pretty much run the show. The UK cannot fall behind in terms of crypto legislations. It's just not possible for it to fall behind. But the issue is we just have a couple of buffoons running the show right now. That's why it's moving a bit slow. But again, this year we should be moving a lot more faster. Now, Dubai. For example, on the topic of regulations and countries moving as fast as they could, Dubai has got to a stage where they've introduced the legislations. They've made, stable coins legal tender. You can pay your employees with stable coins. So Dubai has advanced quite a lot. They got to a stage where they're now just bored and just bringing out random stuff. For example, Dubai has decided to build a 17-story crypto building. You might be wondering to yourself, why is Dubai building a 17-story crypto building? Well, one, they have a lot of money in their hands, and two, they have a lot of time by the looks of it. But here it is. Dubai unveils plans for a 17-story crypto tower set to transform blockchain landscape by 2027. In a bold move to enhance its status, for Dubai to enhance its status as a global leader in blockchain technology, the Dubai government has announced the construction of a 17-story crypto tower. This ambitious project, developed in partnerships with Dubai's Multi-Commodities and Centers, DMCC, and Residential Rate Development, aims to essentially cater to the burgeoning community of blockchain, decentralized finance, and Web3 enterprises. The crypto tower, located in the vibrant essentially German Lakes and Towers district, will feature approximately 115,000 square feet of leasable space. The design includes 9 dedicated floors for office spaces tailored for both emerging startups and established companies inside the crypto sector. Additionally, 3 floors will be allocated for blockchain essentially and venture capital firms, while an entire floor is reserved for artificial intelligence innovation. Construction is expected to be completed by the first quarter of 2027, with operations commencing shortly thereafter. The tower will not provide advanced facilities, but also integrate cutting-edge blockchain technology to streamline tenant interactions through smart contracts and on-chain voting mechanisms. This innovative approach aims to foster transparency and efficiency within the community. So the entire building is not just titled as the blockchain tower of the world. It's just actually going to be integrated into blockchain. The building is going to be working with smart contracts and so on. So I'm guessing NFT, essentially cards to unlock doors and so on. But it's going to become an actual blockchain building, which is the first of its kind, to be fairly honest as well. We've never had a Web3 or a blockchain or a crypto building, which is an actual crypto building. Among the towers, the notable features will be 10,000 square feet indoor event space and 3,500 square feet outdoor area designed for exclusive crypto and blockchain gatherings. Furthermore, the upper levels will house a luxury crypto hub that spans 30,000 square feet, offering premium networking opportunities. The crypto tower is poised to become a landmark for Dubai's tech ambitions, embodying the city's commitment to embracing new technologies. Ahmed bin Sulam, the CEO of DMCC, emphasized that this development represents both a physical manifestation of Web3's future and a strict initiative to solidify Dubai's position as an innovation hub on the global stage. As I said previously, what matters the most is every country is trying to aim for the title crypto hub. As long as every country is aiming for the title of crypto hub, they're going to bring more money to the table, which is better for us. Because we're the ones holding those crypto projects that the money is going to be pouring into. Now, moving on essentially from Dubai in terms of having too much money to play around with, South Korea. South Korea is quite big on XRP. It's technically their number one purchase when it comes to retail or institutional section. They buy more XRP than they ever do of Bitcoin or Ethereum. And, this is a showing of proof from their exchanges, which shows how much, essentially certain crypto assets are being brought. And Chainalysis has done multiple reports on this as well. But in terms of regulations, as I said, every country is trying to aim for that title. So is South Korea. South Korea's crypto regulations expands to cover stablecoins, which is perfect for RLUSD to thrive in South Korea. South Korea's top financial authorities has begun talks to draft a follow-up to its crypto regulatory framework so far. According to local reports, the new legislation is expected to make its debut in the second half of this year. The Financial Services Commission, FSC, held a meeting today to outline priorities for new bill in South Korea. As reported by South Korean news outlets E-Daily, Vice Chairman Kim Soo-young essentially highlighted the global push towards a stronger crypto regulation, stressing the need to bolster investor protection and resolve lingering regulatory uncertainties. The country's first regulatory framework was implemented in July last year after being passed in 2022 and focused on safeguarding investors. Key measures included requiring exchanges to store at least 80% of their users' crypto deposits in separate cold wallets to minimize risk of mismanagement. The upcoming legislation is set to take a broader approach, addressing service providers, crypto users, and essentially topics including improving transparency in cryptocurrencies, listings on exchanges, and applying disclosures and standards similar to those in traditional finance. Stablecoin regulations was also on the agenda, with authorities examining essentially global practices in reserve assets and management and ensuring user redemption rights. South Korea's cryptocurrency market is among the most active globally, with local essentially exchange Upbit ranking as the world's third essentially largest centralized exchange by volume last month. And Uphold Exchange essentially is massive on XRP. The amount of purchase on XRP that has in South Korea is crazy. South Korean traders also have a reputation for driving rallies and exerting essentially significant influence on crypto prices, contributing to the increased buying pressure. Trading volumes on Upbit often surpasses those of major global exchanges like Binance and Coinbase. Sometimes Upbit is bringing more money to the table than essentially Binance is bringing money to the table or Coinbase is bringing money to the table. This is how much South Koreans are purchasing and going towards crypto assets. And the number one purchase is XRP. And Upbit Exchange sometimes ranks higher in terms of money coming in than Binance and Coinbase. Both Upbit and Thumbit, essentially, and Bitthumb, and the other essentially major South Korean exchanges reported dailies in sites and feeds and performance due to surges in users and activity along the martial law declaration that's going on in South Korea as well. And the taxation of cryptocurrencies gains by 3 years if passed. The country's crypto gains taxations will be pushed from the beginning of 2025 to 2028. And also in South Korea, in terms of crypto tax, yes, dismissed. The whole idea is dismissed completely to 2028. But again, every country is trying to aim for that title of crypto hub. The more they aim towards that title of crypto hub, the more money they bring into the table, the better it is for us. Now, also, On the topic of legislations and more money to the table and so on, let's go back to Trump. SEC under Trump could freeze crypto cases not involving fraud reports, is what I want to talk about right now. So once the US Securities and Exchange Commission is under a new management in 2025, it could reportedly consider dropping certain crypto enforcement cases, in particular XRP and Coinbase case, and essentially Ripple's case, Coinbase case, Crypto.com's case, Kraken's case, and you get the picture, in other words. So what's the discussion that's going on right now is that whatever Gary Gensler has done or is doing still inside the SEC as a chairman, is all of this going to be undone. The companies that Gary Gensler is suing inside the blockchain sector, like Ripple, Coinbase, so on, all those cases are going to be tossed out. They're either going to be dismissed or settled and completely tossed out. So the topic that was just happening is Trump comes in, Gary's out, new SEC chairman, and every case gets dismissed or settled. According to a retainer's report citing people briefed on the matter, the SEC may review its existing court cases against crypto firms in the first few days. In the first few days, the SEC will be reviewing the companies that it's suing against the crypto firms the first few days after the US President-elect Donald Trump takes his seat. The report suggests that the commission could freeze litigations that does not involve fraud allegations, hinting at cases alleging securities violations only, which means Ripple case, it's not fraud, which means the Ripple case is going to get freezed and tossed. Coinbase, freezed, tossed. Every case, pretty much, that the SEC is going after, none of them are fraud related, to be fairly honest. There might be one or two unknown crypto projects that the SEC is actually suing, which is committing fraud. But the bigger cases, Coinbase is not fraud, Ripple is not fraud, Crypto.com is not fraud, Kraken is not fraud. There's a mixture of crypto assets that are not fraud, a mixture of cases. The report suggests that the commission could freeze litigations that does not involve fraud and allegations. After January 20th, the resignation of SEC Chairman Gary Gensler and Commissioner essentially Jamie, there will likely be only 3 members of financial regulators until Trump officially nominates their replacements. The report suggests that the SEC commissioners Hester Pierce and Mark, both Republicans, like Trump. It's true. There are 2 people that work alongside Gary Gensler. One of them is named Hester Pierce. She's incredible and she loves the crypto space. She's also been known as the mother of crypto before, and she attends crypto events and rallies and does speeches as an SEC commissioner and talks positively about crypto. All the time she's done this. Mark is another one who also works alongside Gary Gensler as an SEC commissioner. Mark has done many speeches about crypto. He advocates crypto. And they're both against Hester Pierce and Mark. They're both essentially been against Gary Gensler as the SEC chairman for the longest time. But they had to live with him because they couldn't get rid of him. Because the Biden administration of circus freaks are traitors to the American people and want to stop the American growth. But these 2 people are still in charge after Gary Gensler is out the door until the new replacement comes in. They could review the regulators' rules on what constitutes a security and ongoing court cases with crypto firms. You know what the best part is? Even before the new SEC commissioner comes in, Hester Pierce, in the past, has actually came out and said she doesn't even know why the SEC is suing Ripple. She's an SEC commissioner that works below, essentially, Gary Gensler as the chairman of the SEC. When Gary Gensler resigns, January 20th, willingly, Hester Pierce and Mark will be in charge, technically, of the SEC until the new SEC chairman comes in. And cases will get freezed and dismissed and settled. The best part is Hester Pierce has said in the past she doesn't even know why the SEC is going after Ripple. Because in her eyes, they haven't done anything wrong. The former SEC chairman, essentially, Jay Clinton, was the head of the agency in 2020 when it filed a civil case against essentially Ripple Labs, alleging the firm used XRP tokens as an unregistered security to raise funds. Under Gary Gensler, the SEC has brought other lawsuits against US-based companies, including Coinbase, Binance, Celsius, BlockFi, and Consensus. Though some crypto firms have settled charges with the SEC or paid fines after essentially going through courts, others continue to file appeals challenging decisions. The SEC is expected to file an opening brief on January 15th, as the judgment today, essentially, which they did, against Ripple, while the judge stayed the regulator's case against Coinbase until the courts ruled in the appeal towards that case as well. Now, Caroline Crenshaw, a Democratic SEC commissioner who took office in 2020, will likely be allowed to serve as the agency until the end of 2025. In December, Democratic senators attempted to confirm her nomination to another 5-year term while they had a majority control of the chamber, but were reportedly blocked by Republican lawmakers. Yeah, because Republican lawmakers didn't want somebody like Caroline Crenshaw, who voted no on pretty much everything crypto related inside the SEC. She's worse than Gary Gensler, believe it or not. There's actually somebody inside the SEC who was worse than Gary Gensler. And she tried to stay for another 5 years. The good thing is, because the Republicans sweep the floor with the Democrats, and she, Caroline Crenshaw, is a Democrat. Democrats are typically, as a politician, Democrats are lazy. They don't want to essentially work. They think everything that essentially should be handed towards them. Democrats in general, they like the idea of using taxpayers' money for no apparent reason. And then when they get blamed for it, they try to turn it into a weird argument. And in general, they don't understand the idea of growth. They don't know how to do business practices. They don't know how to do anything. Just take taxpayers' money, spend it for themselves, and stifle growth. Because they're lazy, so why should the economy boost? But Caroline Crenshaw, who's a Democratic SEC commissioner, was straight away blocked by Republicans because there was no way in hell we're going to have 5 more years of her inside the SEC, just saying no blatantly to anything positive towards crypto assets. So the good thing is, she didn't make it through. Removing Gary Gensler was one of Trump's essentially promises to the crypto industry during his presidential campaign, and it was. But Gary Gensler did decide willingly to get up from his seat and leave January 20th, even if it is last minute. But the best part is Gary Gensler yesterday came out on the news and said crypto is not the reason why, he is getting tossed out, and that essentially, Donald Trump won and how the Republicans took all the seats. Crypto is not the reason. I'll be honest, crypto is one of the reasons why you're getting tossed out of your seat, Gary Gensler, because if you remember the famous speech, Trump said, should I fire Gary Gensler? And the crowd went, yes, very loud. He said it again. The crowd went more loud. And then you decide to resign. What's the correlation there if it's not related to crypto? Because the only reason you're resigning, Mr. Gary Gensler, is because of crypto. So don't go on CNBC News and try to be proud about what you've achieved inside the crypto space, because you've achieved nothing as an SEC chairman. And wasted everybody's time and taxpayers' time. And again, you wasted everybody's taxpayer time today as well, because everything you've done inside the SEC as a chairman is going to be undone on January 20th beyond. But after winning the elections against Democratic and Vice President Kamala Harris, he announced the appointment of an AI and crypto Caesar and a potential replacement for the SEC chairman. Look, what I want to say essentially is this filing that Gary Gensler has done today means absolute jack squat. It genuinely means absolute jack squat. About a week ago, I said on this live, Gary Gensler, SEC chairman, is the only SEC chairman in American history where anything he does from now until January 20th, it's going to be undone. So there's no point even doing it. He's pretty much a useless chairman that can't do anything. He's the only American, essentially, in American history, he's the only SEC chairman who can't do anything at all. Because whatever Gary Gensler touched will be undone January 20th and beyond. He's resigning. And the 2 people that are going to replace him temporarily, they're pro-crypto inside the SEC. One of them even came out and said, why are we even suing Ripple? So what I'm going to be leaving you with tonight is the appeal means nothing. It genuinely means nothing. Because all that matters is what happens January 20th and beyond. And it's all good news, January 20th and beyond. Now, All good things must come to an end, which they have now. So if you're watching this for the first time ever, this was the CMF Live, and this is episode 242 of the CMF Live. And the CMF stands for Crypto Mouse Family. And on this live, I talk about the most recent news that's happening around the world in terms of cryptocurrency, CBDCs, AI, politics, regulations, vital information for you to know about regarding the world, essentially transforming into digital space. If you're watching this for the first time ever, you can tune in tomorrow as well. Same timing, 11:25 p.m. UK time onwards. You can tune in Monday to Friday into this live. Obviously, before we go, let's go inside the comment section first, because I'm not going to leave out questions. I always read out everyone's question one by one and then name and answer it. So it's rude if I don't. The more people buy it, the more the money makes it go up. Facts, JP, absolutely yes. Miles, what? Nope, I already read that one. Okay, yeah, I'll see it. Is that building with decrypto.com on top of it? I think I've seen a model of it on X. Maybe. Another great job tonight, Miles. You're the GOAT. Thanks for your daily efforts. From Scott, thanks so much for the kind words. Democrat Biden is delivering his farewell speech now. Poor guy can't even read off the teleprompter. What an embarrassment. So glad I found you, brother Miles. Your knowledge is unmatched. You never ever wavered on XRP and kept us on track when many were doubting. Great work. Good night. Comatose, thanks so much for the kind words. And I'll see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Outstanding job tonight, mentor. My mentor. Let's go, Scott. Thanks for the kind words as well. I did not hear your thoughts on Beam when a question was asked earlier. Will you repeat it, please? Beam, it's a good project in the gaming sector, but you want to put your focus on the X's now, the financial projects, because that's what matters. Money going digital is number one category. So Beam, if I had Beam, I would sell it preferably and go inside the X's. Not financial advice in any sort of a way. So just to make sure that's my notes are accurate, 1 Adder, 2 Algo, 3 Beam, 4 Hot, in that order. Sure. They're all good projects, to be fairly honest. Nothing wrong with them. But obviously Adder first and Algo second. Yeah, because they're both financial projects. Although I would have put Adder and then Hot, but good. All good. Share the live before, essentially during and after. Let's go CMF. Let's go Scott. My 6,000 XRP is only 20,000. I messed up. Don't hold enough. I'm not excited anymore. You should still be excited, because the prices you're seeing right now for XRP are nothing compared to the prices of XRP going to be. Not overnight, but over time. So you still should be very excited. Trust me. All facts. Great show tonight, brother. From another mother. Take care all. Ray, let's go. See you tomorrow, but at the same time as usual. Thanks for another amazing live, brother. Can't see you tomorrow at the same time as usual as well. Great live, Miles, as usual. Good night, Miles and CMF. Jason, see you tomorrow, but at the same time as usual. Good night, brother. Till tomorrow. Dolly, see you tomorrow, but at the same time as usual. Thanks, Miles. Good night, everyone. See you tomorrow. Orphan, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Thanks, Miles. Good night. Pierce, see you tomorrow, but at the same time as usual as well. Good night, everyone. I'll see you night. Funky brother, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Good night, Miles and CMF. Thanks for all the info tonight. See you tomorrow. Free and forever. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Davey, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Thanks again, Miles. Always uplifting, hearing your words of wisdom. Have a great night and see you tomorrow. Autistic, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Thanks so much for the kind words. Well, thank you, Miles, for a fabulous live tonight. For a fabulous live today. Your knowledge is appreciated. Joe, thanks so much for the kind words as well. See you tomorrow, same time as usual. Night, Miles. Pablo, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. If you haven't already, just a quick thing, if you haven't already, like, share, comment, retweet, and subscribe if you already haven't. Obviously the lives that everything that I do and provide is completely free of source, and it will always be free of source. So if you watch us on YouTube, the only thing I do ask in return, you can tune into this free live show, which is amazing. Tune into it every single Monday to Friday, 11:25 p.m. onwards, UK time. We also have a free Telegram page if anybody's watching us for the first time ever, which you're more than welcome to enjoy. We also have a free X communities page, CMF, Crypto Mouse Family Lounge. You can join if you're watching us on X. Join the communities page, join the Telegram page, tune into this live Monday to Friday, and it's all free. It's been free for over 3 years now. It's all free. The only thing that I do ask in return is just for you to like, share, comment, and retweet. That's the only thing that I've ever asked in return. Like, share, comment, retweet, and subscribe if you already haven't. And tune in Monday to Friday. Get involved in the Telegram group and get involved in the X communities page, especially if you're a beginner inside the crypto space or intermediate or professional. It's an amazing place to be in. Thanks, Zach. Good night. See you tomorrow same time as usual as well. Great info. Night, Susie. See you tomorrow same time as usual as well. Good night, Miles. Zach, see you tomorrow, but same time as usual. Mike, good night, Miles. See you tomorrow same time as usual. Good night, Miles. You're wonderful, my friend. Scott, let's go. See you tomorrow same time as usual. Thanks, Miles. You're never wrong. See you all tomorrow. Ghost Punter, see you tomorrow same time as usual as well. My friend, I'm biased. You are the greatest. Let's go, Scott. Scott, see you tomorrow same time as usual as well. Thanks. Let's go, Shakira. See you tomorrow same time as usual as well. Everyone leave a comment outside the live. Let's go, Peg. Good night, Miles and all CMF. Thank you for all the news and great live. If everybody has a minute, try to leave a message outside the live, after the live. That would be great. Absolutely would be. Thank you, Jip, for saying that as well. Thank you, Peg, for saying that as well. I will see everybody tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you're around the world. CMF, see you all tomorrow, same time as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you're around the world.